Welcome to another edition of ClearTalk. I'm Brad Dempsey. I'm very happy today to have with me Tofiq Indawala, the Director of Product Management for Solutions 360. Now, a question that's come up a lot in the recent times, and especially in our last masterclass, is what is backlog burn rate? So hopefully Tofiq can help us answer that question today. So Tofiq, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Brad. Happy to join you.
Well, I guess the first question is obvious. What's backlog?
Well, when you sell something like an AV system or any kind of project, you book a sale when you close the deal. So that's normally a financial agreement between the customer and the company, which could be a signed proposal or a customer PO. At that point, we have a backlog. It's an order from a customer that we have not delivered. So it's unfinished work, essentially. So we take that project and eventually we start doing the execution of that project. We order equipment, we install that equipment, we schedule our resources, we put in labor or professional services within that job. So as we incur all of those expenses, we also recognize proportionate amount of revenue. So our backlog is essentially the original amount of the project minus all the revenue that we've already recognized. So when we look at it as a company, a backlog is all of your active project, the total portfolios of project, minus all the revenue that we've already earned. So that gives us all the outstanding, thus our backlog on all our projects.
Okay. So we have orders coming on one side, and we're doing revenue recognition, we're executing the work. So backlog is the stuff in the middle? Is that essentially it?
Yeah, exactly. When we talk about backlog burn rate, we are referring to how the balance in the middle is changing over time. So backlog by itself is only one part of the picture when we start looking at, your financials and analytics of your business.
Okay. Well, I know you've been asked this question quite often. So how do I know if I have enough backlog?
That really that's different for each company. But a good starting point is to look at your average project revenue month over month. How many weeks of backlog do you have? And this will tell you how long you can go on for without making a new deal with the customer, without selling a new project or a job.
So that sounds like a worst case scenario. That is, if we don't get any more sales. So how do we fill that backlog with new orders?
A sales, it plays a big part in your backlog because an accurate sales forecast is key here. If your forecast is kept up to date and is accurate, you can tell whether the potential incoming orders will cover the outgoing revenue. So you're always kind of filling that funnel of your backlog, through those new sales. And that's why it's very critical to maintain an accurate sales forecast.
Wow. So it sounds like I need sales, operations, and finance all working in harmony to make this thing work, right?
Absolutely. That's it in a nutshell, right? Like as we always say, a company is like a big orchestra. So you got the sales is responsible for filling the backlog, and operations is responsible for executing those projects and the work as efficiently as possible. And finance needs to recognize those revenue and manage those financials around the project.
And I've heard some people say that GP or gross profit backlog, that portion of it is almost more important in some cases than our revenue backlog. Is that true?
Yes, that is generally true. I mean, if you have a business which is that has very consistent margin, it is not critical. But most of the integration businesses out there, managing your GP is the best practice, anyways. So.
Okay. So knowing all that, in your recommendation, what are the most important KPIs that an integration company could measure to help manage their backlog?
At minimum, your sales funnel, your sales forecast is critical, your current backlog and revenue recognition. And the most important part is watching the relationship between those three. because that tells you what could be coming, what we need to be coming with all the different the revenue and our burn rate, and how much revenue we're recognizing on a month-to-month basis. So those three are the bare minimum that we need to manage.
Well, that's great. That's been really helpful. Thanks very much for your help today, Tofiq. And thank you for joining another ClearTalk podcast.
Thank you, Brad, for having me. It was great.